Okay, step 2, hydrate. So first, why hydrate? Part of what keeps your boot going for the long haul is its ability to kind of withstand all the punishment that you're putting it through. You're putting your foot in there, you're running away from fights, you're running during fights, you're wearing armor and putting additional pressure and stress on your shoe. The way that this boot kind of acts as like a tiny compression spring, or like shock reducer basically, is its elastic power. So if this is, and the way that this remains elastic is by hydrating it. And you're not going to hydrate it with water. Water is not what you want to be hydrating your boot with at this point in time. You're going to hydrate it. Basically the leather is thirsty at this point. I know we just put in a bunch of water. I know we just but we did soap out. Oil, water don't mix. We just put some a bunch of stuff in here to get all the dirty particulate out, and which is a good step. But to hydrate the leather, we are going to use, this is 100% pure neatsfoot oil. This is what I use. I have had this bottle, I don't know, 10 years. Used it for a lot of leather projects. A lot. Not just boots, a whole bunch. You might not need such a large amount of it. Again, this is from Tandy Leather Factory. You don't need to get 100% pure neatsfoot oil from them. If you can find it cheaper elsewhere, do so. Because as far as I know, 100% pure neatsfoot oil is 100% pure neatsfoot oil. You will find that you could find neatsfoot oil in different varieties that might have different blends. Just go for the 100%. It should work. This isn't going to protect your boots. This is just going to be a layer right now where we're going to buff it into the leather, leave it on there, let the leather absorb it into the skin, and then we're going to put layers on top of that to kind of trap in that hydration. Okay, there are other products that will hydrate. This is just how I do it. You really have to look at each and every chemical that's going to go into your boot. Tandy sells a lot of them. There's other boot care places that sell a lot of different products, and some are doing like 2 things at once. Okay, so there are some that are going to be a blend of neatsfoot for hydration or conditioning, and as a top coat, beeswax, something on the outside to protect your boot. I'm just kind of going with one thing does one thing at a time. You might find the next awesome thing and find some crazy chemical that hydrates and does a top coat. Certainly you'll find lots of products from Tandy that I really don't think that does everything. Like, you can do one thing well, or 2 or 3 things less and less well. So I'm just sticking with neatsfoot myself. Feel free to divert with your own thing, but I find the extra step helps the boot last a bit longer. So okay, so how do you apply it? I have this old super saturated sheep wool chunk. You don't really need this. It's pretty great. You can just do this with a cotton rag, but I've kind of found this in a scrap bin again at Tandy, and I've used it for years and years, and it just gets super saturated. There's always like a little bit of oil in there, but so all you do, shake it up. Always shake up each foot. It settles. You're just gonna get a little dab into that, just a little bit for now, and again, circular motions. You're gonna leave a little. This is a little thick right now. Going over the same kind of places that you just cleaned before. And at this point, you might stick your hand and see how it gets shiny. That's temporary, but it's a good sign. You don't want to take it down. Right now, we're just trying to lay some of this stuff on the surface. This is seeming kind of dry to me. See how nothing's really coming out. So I'm going to take another little dab. paying special attention and put extra neatsfoot at the back of your foot and the front. This is where you're kicking into snow, mud, orcs, etc. This is where you're not paying attention, and heaviest wear points, front and back. So you're going to put extra hydration, extra elasticity into your boot. Shiny is nice, feels nice, but that's not the goal here. It's not to spread it out, it's to leave some of this on the surface for now. And what we're going to do, again, this is going to be the toughest part. We are going to leave it. The neatsfoot has a chance to hydrate. Sometimes these boots get deeper and deeper furrows. Make sure you're getting in there, kind of pushing in from the inside. It's easy to just kind of coat over and not really get in there. Push it out from inside the boot. Wrinkles come about from lack of elasticity, just like, you know, human skin. This is that tough step again of just letting it dry. I don't have a rig right now to show you like it kind of dangling like this. You want to find a chair with like a back and then kind of put your boot on it, or take two chairs, leave one how it is, flip the other one upside down and put it on the chair leg. It'll kind of dry out. There's little, you know, dustlets and such. We'll take care of that in the next step. But just again, go out, let it dry, I don't know, 5-6 minutes. Give it a chance to absorb into there, and then we'll kind of buff it around. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes. As you can see, parts of this are a little still drinking it in, some are not. Stuff at the front definitely is drinking a lot of that hydration, a lot of that oil. As I was sitting drinking all my tea, was thinking, you know, this is a little more efficient if you have, you know, I'm just doing one boot all the way through so you can see like the difference at the end. But if you have like, if you do one boot to like this point and then, you know, put it on something to dry, you know, edge of a chair like I was saying, then you go to your other boot and then work on that one, you know, that'll kind of make it efficient as far as you're not just like waiting around for stuff. One guy I know, Mike has a pair of boots for every shift at Novitas, so that way his feet at the end of the event, you know, feel like $1 million. But it means you got to do some boot maintenance, you know, depending on the quality of the boot and stuff. If you can afford it, go for it. It'll keep your feet dry, and if you can't, then just please bring socks and change them every shift. It's a little annoying. It's like 5 minutes out of your life, less than. Even if it's not a wet event, it will make a difference and it will feel awesome. So definitely recommend that. So anyway, so we let this dry a bit. So at this point, we're going to buff this around, basically move it around. This sheep wool is just a little wet. I could do it if I wished, but I want something just a little drier. So I have this sheep wool for this purpose, you know, wet sheep wool. This one's just for like drying it. So basically, very lightly, I'm moving this around, especially to those drier areas. And it's kind of spreading around. And again, I have my feet in the boot. If you don't want to use this, this is kind of thick. You could use another white rag, you know, just kind of moving stuff, you know, oil around. And also you could use a little shoe shine brush. This is a natural bristle. Natural meaning this is made of pig bristle. Oh, sorry, not pig, horsehair. And you do it with a really light, you're not pushing anything, you're doing it very light. And this is just moving around, buffing the neatsfoot. Don't do this too often because this is going to come in at the end with that stuff, but it's kind of makes the job a little easier. Anyway, so So now our boot is hydrated. That means it's nice and elastic, but now we need to think about protecting it and protect all the work that we've put into making the boot nice at this point. Because just as you saw, when we left this neatsfoot on, it started absorbing in, but it's not really, that's going into the leather, you know, in between the grains, and you know, it's going in. It's not really staying too much on the surface, and if it does, it's not going to last very long. That's, you know, oil is going to penetrate. So now we got to think about the third step, which is seal.